job. So for Tuesday, I'm having you start the book, but I have to make copies for you just of a selection of it that we will be reading this 9 weeks. And so I copied a piece of the first chapter as I'm waiting for our order to come in. And so what you'll notice is that I want you to pay specific attention to the imagery that she uses. I mean, she's writing about imagery. She is writing about the senses. So I think what you'll find is that, and in fact, I'll kind of start a little of it with you, but I think what you'll find is that you're going to be able to kind of pull from your annotation guide for expository text, but also for literary text. So remember your literary annotation guide, it's yellow, because we made it yellow, remember that? We magically made it yellow. So that was your literary annotation guide. And the reason I say you're going to be able to pull from both is that even though technically this is nonfiction and is an expository text, she writes it in such a creative literary fashion that you're going to be able to do some analysis of her use of imagery, do some analysis of her syntax, her figurative language. So you'll be able to kind of choose what you want to look at. So for this first one, I'm not giving you a lot of guidance because I kind of just want you to enjoy it and to interact with it. But I do want you to notice imagery. Excuse me. So let me tell you a little bit about the book. It's called A Natural History of the Senses. It's by Diane Ackerman. I included her bio for you because I wanted you to see her background and see how she has a background in not only writing and literature, but also science. I wanted you to see that about her because as we go into our persuasive essays, we'll be talking about the ethos of a speaker. And I wanted you to see her background. And so I also included for you the introduction, so you can have the context, her motivation for writing the book, her purpose, and then if you turn, I even included for you the table of contents. Okay? And the reason I did that is because I wanted you to get a sense of how the book is laid out and what the book is going to explore. And as you can see, it's divided out by the senses. So I'm very excited about this addition to the curriculum. This is the first year that I've added it. And I added it for a number of reasons. One is that I know that many of you are strong with science and you want to maybe pursue careers in that field. And so she also brings in some of the science as well, but it's the natural sciences. And furthermore, it allows us to tap into our creative writing side as well, which y'all know I love. And so what we're going to be able to do is, as we're reading selections from the smell section, we'll write some poetry that focuses on the sensory experience of smell, and we'll read some poetry as well. So I think this will enable us to kind of explore many different writings in many different genres with this as kind of our foundation, as well as providing for us a style that would be powerful to emulate at times. So we start with smell, then we go into touch, taste, hearing, vision, and then that last one is the word synesthesia. Have any of you seen that word before, synesthesia? Just briefly, it is the approach in which you describe one sensory experience by using another sense. So a really basic definition for synesthesia would be if y'all were wearing, if one of you were wearing a blouse that was red with purple polka dots today, somebody might say, wow, that shirt is loud, okay? But it's not really loud, but the visual effect of it on you feels loud. It feels like the shirt is shouting at you, right? In a happy way, in a polka dot way, but shouting at you. That's a really kind of primitive definition of synesthesia, but it's the idea of mixing the senses. And so that's going to be also interesting, I think, for us to explore. And so if you continue in your handout, you'll see there the introduction, you'll see her motivation and her purpose for writing this, and then I've picked a little piece from smell, which I think is the most neglected of the senses when we write. And so I don't know if, I'm wondering if she started with this one in order to bring it to the forefront, and she put vision to the back, because vision is the one we really tend to rely on a lot. I mean, that kind of is our go-to description, right? So I think she's kind of rattling us a little bit and having us, you know, take some risks, or encouraging us to take some risks. So let me just read just the first paragraph to you. And I want you to think about how she's already using senses to create a mood and to help to send her message to us. And she calls this one the mute sense. Are y'all with me?
Yes.
Okay, because you had to get through the intro, you had to get through the table of contents, and then this one doesn't actually have a page number because it's page 1. And feel free to write on these as I'm speaking with you, because, and you'll notice you did get a lot of annotations this time. This is actually a class in which I'm not trying to scare you or anything, but it's going to pick up a little bit as the semester goes. And then next semester is actually going to be the literary piece of British literature. So I'm kind of warming you up to having a bit more reading, although you've had reading, it's not like anything new to you. Don't panic, we'll be fine, okay? But we are getting kind of a little more dense with our analysis, okay? A little more deeply into it. All right, so the mute sense says, nothing is more memorable than a smell. One scent can be unexpected, momentary, and fleeting, yet conjure up a childhood summer beside a lake in the Poconos, when wild blueberry bushes teemed with succulent fruit, and the opposite sex was as mysterious as space travel. Another, hours of passion on a moonlit beach in Florida while the night-blooming Sirius drenched the air with thick curds of perfume, and huge sphinx moths visited the Sirius in a loud purr of wings. A third, a family dinner of pot roast, noodle pudding, and sweet potatoes during a myrtle-mad August in a Midwestern town when both of one's parents were alive. Smells denote softly in our memory like poignant landmines. Oh, smells detonate softly in our memory like poignant landmines hidden under the weedy mass of many years and experiences. Hit a tripwire of smell and memories explode all at once. A complex vision leaps out of the underground. Okay? So that's just to get you started. So you can see that this is maybe a little more Dillard-esque type of nonfiction, a little more like Annie than some of our other writers. But right away, what is one of the pieces of poignant imagery that you noticed and that was kind of a Velcro image to you? Can somebody just let me know? Just a Velcro phase or image?
What was it, the pot roast?
Oh, I'm sorry, Brianna, say it again.
The pot roast?
Oh, the pot roast, probably because you're hungry. Right? And it's the pot roast, the noodle pudding, and sweet potatoes. She doesn't just say food, right, girls? I mean, she lets us know exactly. And so right away, that, I would say, coupled with the Myrtle Mad August, right? Which, do y'all know what she means by myrtle? Any of y'all have crepe myrtle? Yes. Which is it a purplish flower?
Whitish, purplish, reddish, like that.
Yeah, those that range of colors. And so she's kind of luring us in, right, with her images. What kind of mood is she creating for us with that pot roast and that noodle pudding and the night blooming flowers. What's that mood? What mood does she put you in there? Oh, it feels nostalgic, doesn't it? Yeah, nostalgic. That's excellent. Because, look, she tells us in line 1, nothing is more memorable than a smell. And so I think she set about to prove that to us. Yeah, excellent. Okay, so I'm hoping you enjoyed. I think you will. And we'll talk about it further, of course, on Tuesday. So that's your reading. Hope to have these books in your hands soon. Bless you. You have the, okay, you got the thing, that's good. And then if you would, go ahead and open your journals to your topic list from Tuesday. And I put them up here in small font because I knew you had them written down, but just to kind of remind you of what that journal entry looked like. And we had a good discussion. We got into it, right? Which is good. And we added some topics that seem to grow off of some of these major topics that we picked up from our essays, right? And so take a moment, and if you haven't already done so, note in your journal some of the subtopics or some of the brand new topics that you or a peer brought up, okay? Add those to your list if you didn't do so during class already. And if you need to talk to your table for